So quite recently I was looking through some comments, and this was about a month ago, and someone asked me what were my top 10 Scooby Doo movies, and at the time I thought it was a great idea, but then I realised how many movies there were. So I spent a lot of time re-watching all the Scooby Doo movies to find the top 10, and while I was watching them I was watching the What's New Scooby Doo movies, and I just realised how many movies of there they were, and so I thought it'd be better if I separated the two. So this top 10 is going to be of the animated movies and not from the actual series that were special movies, if that makes any sense, because that's going to be covered in another video. I found out it was much more easier just to separate them rather than doing them both together, be a lot more less hassle for me and be more better for you guys, because everybody has their own preference. So this is my personal top 10 Scooby-Doo movie list. If you're unhappy with this list, I totally agree, because we're all different, we all have our top moments, but I'm going to be doing this from my top 10 to the number 1 spot, and let me tell you, this was tricky. Coming in at number 10 is Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase. Now this I knew it was going to be on the list, but at the same time I had to figure out where on the list it was going to go. Is it going to be in the middle, a bit at the top, or a bit far back at the back of the line? And then I found out, why not just put it as a number 10 spot? It's not the worst movie, but it shouldn't really be a movie in my eyes. It's an okay movie, but it should be more like an episode rather than anything else. It's like the 13 Ghosts of Scooby Doo. Amazing as a series. If it was a movie, I'll probably feel the same way, it would have been bad. And that's why I think Cyber Chase should have been episodes rather than an actual movie. The gang meets their old friend who creates a video game of the gang, and they get beamed into Cyber Chase, and then they have to face the virus, and then they have to find out who made the computer virus. Then they go through all 10 levels to the final boss level, and I think all those levels that they went through should have been done individual episodes. I think it would have been more better if Cyber Chase was a series rather than a movie, and that's the point I'm trying to make. And a lot of you are probably hating me or agreeing with me. I don't know, I just feel personally it should have been a series. Coming in at number 9 is Scooby Doo WRESTLEMANIA. Now, don't get me wrong, I like wrestling, but I liked wrestling back in the 90s where the Attitude Era was, because that was the pinnacle entertainment. When wrestling became PG, it was a bit like, okay, I can sort of get why they're doing it with all these viewers now. But at the same time, when I found that they were working together with Scooby Doo, my mind went two ways. One, it could be good, but at the same time, they might ruin it, and it's hard to ruin Scooby Doo. Like, oh come on, even Scrappy Doo was so bad, but I still enjoyed the show. I just really didn't like the character. Even the movies that had Scrappy Doo in, I still liked the movies, I just didn't like the character. And then after watching the WrestleMania video, I don't know, I just thought it was good. It was. It went all together, and it actually made me laugh at some moments. For a risk that wrestling went with, going PG, was bad enough, but when they combined with Scooby Doo, I was thinking, you know, this is going to be really bad, you know. I just had that feeling in my chest like they're going to ruin it, because wrestling was good at the Attitude Era, but it's PG era I didn't like. And when I saw them Scooby Doo, I was like, well, I like Scooby Doo, so it can't be that bad. And there's always going to be a mystery and a guide to unravel, and they had the wrestling voice actors doing it, so it wasn't like other actors pretending to be them, so that was quite good. And that's why I think it deserves a number 9 spot on my list. Coming in at number 8 is Scooby Doo Music of the Vampire. Now, I like musicals, like High School Musical, Glee. I like those sort of stuff. And the Scooby Doo adaptations of them are fantastic. You get some incredible moments, some soundtracks, music videos, the lot. And it does really work together. And when I re-watched the Music of the Vampire again, I must have watched about 3 times while doing this for top 10 list. It just made sense, like this was the start of many more to come, and there were more down the line. This one was an iconic moment because this was what started all. That was that spark, that flare that made something like this happen. And lots of people hate musicals, that's totally fine. But a Scooby Doo musical, there was a live musical a while back, not about years ago, but for me it felt like yesterday. But I remember seeing that, and that was beautiful. And then seeing an animation like a musical was spectacular. So I really liked this movie. And at number 8, it was really stressful. I was thinking, should I put it as number 5 or should I put it as number 6? But number 8 was just the cherry on the top. It's the right level for it in my book. Coming in at number 7 is Scooby Doo Stage Fright. Yeah, another musical. And this was what I was talking about the last one. Like, it was just a bit better than the musical The Vampire, but Stage Fright had so much more. Oh my god, it had home record. We had home record on it, and everybody kept singing it. I just loved it. Like, every time I watched it, I figured, that's a little girl singing that song. And they showed that on a Scooby Doo show. Like, freaking what the fuck? Wow, I was thinking, mix it. Like, you would never be able to show that on TV nowadays. 2017 or 2018. Heck, they'd have banned that. They would have banned Scooby Doo from most networks. I was like, fucking hell. That was at the right year, at the right time when they released that movie. And by God, when I watched it, it was fabulous. I loved it. It had, like, and especially the duet between Daphne and Fred. Like, their music connections were on par with each other. And also as well with like it kept me guessing, like, who is the villain? Like, who is the madman in the costume? I first thought it was that guy who was in the basement all the time, but no, it was someone else. And other people played the monster, and it was like really weird. But I can never forget Scooby and Shaggy, because those two in any movie are hilarious. They're just straight up are. That's why I think number 7 deserves a spot on my list. So on number 6, I chose Scooby Doo and the Alien Invaders. I really didn't think it was good enough to be near the number 1 spot, but I didn't really think it was good enough to be halfway. The movie was alright. It had some like cringy scenes. It had some weird, okay, now I'm confused moments. But I liked how it involved like the song Groovy in it, and I really love that song. My brother likes that song. I think I listen to it quite a lot. I think I do have it on my phone somewhere in my library. The movie was cringy. In my mind it was, but it wasn't so bad. It didn't deserve to be like 7 or 8 or 9, but it deserved that number 6 spot. Because it was the first moment we saw like Scooby-Doo actually, like Scooby and Shaggy fall in love with aliens. Like, they were running away from aliens, and then they fall in love with real aliens, which they didn't know they were real aliens until later on. And then they got over their fears with aliens, which I thought the ending was sad, because it left Scooby and Shaggy upset, because they were heartbroken that what they thought was going to be a happy ending for them ended up getting taken away, like, every single time. Like they're baiting so many other episodes, but the fact that they had their hearts crushed, not crushed, but they were left disappointed because the ones that they loved had to go away and they couldn't go with them. I have no idea why. They should have just stayed and continued it up like that. Because a lot of people are saying, well, Shaggy's already got a girlfriend called Googie, and well, technically yes and no, because we don't even establish if they broke up or not, because she was never referenced in anything else apart from one movie. And from watching Alien Invaders, it thought, well, obviously Shaggy's single, but at the same time, why didn't it mention his past girlfriends or past relationships? And how come he doesn't like stop Crystal and Amber for going? But you know, for number 6, it made my list. I could, like, people go say, oh, you should have put that in the top 3, and yes, I could have, but at the same time I didn't, because it was mostly cringe rather than anything else for me. But the ending was pretty sad, I'll give it that. So coming at the halfway point, number 5, I chose Scooby Doo and the Witch's Ghost. And it had some good soundtracks, I'm not joking. They were good to listen to, but they weren't really the best, but they were catchy in their own gimmick. Why I deserved a number 5 spot is because it was most about the supernatural in this one. Like, the ghosts were real. It included the Hex Girls for the first time, and the Hex Girls as well. But people might say, well, technically it had the Hex Girls then, so couldn't it be a musical? Not really. They're more like a rock band, not a musical band, if that makes any sense. Like, most people argue about that, but it featured the Hex Girls, and the Hex Girls made so many appearances in What's New Scooby Doo. They even came in the Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated, and I think they're in wouldn't be called Scooby Doo, but I definitely know they have made some comebacks in movies as well. They are in the music of the vampire. Again with Scooby and Shaggy, like they go to the diner, and this is the episode I always like remembering, and I always tell my friends when we talk about Scooby Doo. Like, everybody always remembers the diner scene. They go in and they eat nearly every food and they eat the entire place out. And when they come out, they're not even full. Like, they just can't believe they're out of food and they're still hungry. But then in the midst of the alley, they see the Hex Girls appear. And as beautiful as they are, Scooby and Shaggy are like, oh my god, that they're glazing into him. And they suck in their gut. And the way Shaggy lifts his gut up makes him look hen and says, well, hello, ladies. And then they say, hi. And they show their fangs. The stomach of Scooby and Shaggy just drops down and they like run away in fear. I have to admit, that scene is gold. It just is. Everything goes well together. That's classic Scooby and Shaggy comedy at the purest. I think that's the funniest scene from the movie, and that's the one thing we always bring up every time we talk about it. Every time we have to speak about Scooby-Doo, we always remember that scene as the best one. Yeah, there could be many others like later on, but from that entire movie, I think that was the best scene. And number 5 on the list is still pretty good. So coming up on number 4 on my list, this is another musical, okay? That's 3 musicals on our list already. But this one is Kiss Rock and Roll. Now, growing up, I never listened to the Kiss rock band, okay? But I know many of my friends who did. And so this was a huge perspective for me, because I'm looking at this movie and I have never listened to Kiss before in my life. I like their costumes are hilarious. Like I love their outfits. I just think it's pure gold. When I watched this movie, I was going in like thinking, okay, I'd never listened to a Kiss rock band before, so I'm going in as one of these like clear head minders, while other people who have liked the Kiss rock band like have watched this movie and criticised it as they didn't feel like they were listening to actual the Kiss band. My mates disagreed because they said they like Scooby Doo and they like musicals, but I thought as like doing them merging together was pretty awesome. And for me, not ever listening to any of their songs, going in, listening to them, and then be like, oh my god, it's good. It's good. I'm not saying I'm a Kiss fan or nothing, but I'm just saying that was a very good movie and I loved it to bits. It got me into it. I even downloaded the songs onto my phone, illegally of course. Shazam, it just took it out of the park, and I think, you know, number 4, it's pretty reasonable. I was going to put it at number 5, but I thought, you know what, I'd be too harsh if I put it at halfway point. It deserves to be amongst nearly the close to the top 3. It was just behind the top 3. You know, I can sit back, watch it and think, fucking hell, that's amazing. It just is. Coming in at number 3, it's Scooby Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf. I love this movie, but at the same time I fucking hate Scrappy Doo. And Scrappy Doo, go fuck yourself. And no one liked Scrappy Doo. He was the worst. And the Scooby Doo and Scrappy Doo adventures, like no one wanted to watch it because of Scrappy Doo. They used to turn the channel. Even I did. But I did watch the episodes all the way through. But when they became repeats, that's when I turned it off. But the Reluctant Werewolf, I quite liked the movie, okay? It was good. Even though it had Scrappy Doo, it still had Shaggy and Scooby, and it contained Shaggy's girlfriend, Googie, which were like, well, she was never even mentioned after that movie. And for a long time, and the person who asked me for my top 10, you know what I'm on about, I've actually said in unboxing, when I unboxed this DVD, that I thought it was Daphne. Yep. I thought, in this movie, I thought it was Daphne. When I got the kid, I could vaguely remember it when I'm watching it as a kid, because I remember having it on VHS. And I must have watched it quite a long time, like a lot as a kid. And this was back in the 90s. But then, for some reason, when I unboxed the DVD one, I thought in my mind it was Daphne. Because on the back of the DVD one, it doesn't really show Shaggy's girlfriend, and it doesn't even have a name in the description or mention her. Like, it's weird when you look at it. Even when you type in the Scooby Doo and the Reluctant Werewolves trailer, watch it, and that's a trailer that they advertised. It didn't even mention Shaggy's girlfriend in that trailer, and I was thinking, really? Like, I must have thought in my mind Shaggy was single. He was single throughout, and I must have thought in my mind, well, maybe he's got the hots for Velma. That's what was going through my mind. But at the time I thought, I remember there was a girl with him when they were doing that. And I must have thought, well, it must have been Daphne, because it couldn't have been Velma, because I would have remembered Velma's orange clothing anywhere, and her goggles as well. But it wasn't Daphne at all. And when the guy said, it's not Daphne, it's Googie, Shaggy's girlfriend, I was thinking, wait, Shaggy had a girlfriend? Since when? And then that made me question, like, he did. I watched it again thinking, oh my god, that is Shaggy's girlfriend. How did I misread that? How did I assume that was Daphne when it wasn't? Oh my god, if that guy never messaged me on my, like, never even left a comment, let me know, I would have, for this day, till now, well, probably because I've already watched the video, so it's on my top 10 list, like, I would have never have thought of it as Shaggy's girlfriend. I would have never remembered it. I would have just left it as Daphne for my entire life. I remember telling my friends, oh, Daphne's in that. I'm like, is it Daphne? Yeah, it's definitely Daphne. No, I was a liar. Well, not a liar, because I actually believed it as true, but looking back, I was a lying son of a bitch, because, oh, god damn, I can't believe I actually believed it was Daphne. No, if I ever see Matthew Lillard in my time, if I'm lucky, I'm going to ask him, do you know what happened to Shaggy's girlfriend? Because if he doesn't know, I don't know what does. I can't ask the original voice actor of Shaggy because he's passed away. And I think Matthew Lillard's the only voice of Shaggy that's still alive. So I have to ask him if I ever see him. But I've even tried looking over blogs and everything. There's no reference of Shaggy's girlfriend. But the movie itself was fantastic. So that's an ace in my book. And that's why I think it deserves the number 3 spot. Like, it didn't have the gang, it was just them solving, like, well, not a mystery. They were trying to revert Shaggy back, but they won the race. And finding out that Shaggy was a racer was pretty good, because I think racing was very popular at the time. I think now it's like obsolete with all these F1 drivers. Like, there aren't any good classic rallies anymore, but back then there were. Moving on to the second spot, because I don't want to keep talking about the third spot for too long, because we're going to be here till Christmas. The second spot goes to Scooby Doo and the Ghoul School. Now, one of my friends will agree to me, this is an all-time classic. You can just sit back and watch this movie and never get bored of it. Yeah, it does contain Scrappy Doo, but, you know, can't do anything about that. We can't Photoshop him out because that'd be too much editing. But if they were ever planning to, like bring back the Ghoul School, I think that they should, like, just include the Ghoul School with the Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated gang of today, and don't make any references to Scrappy Doo. I think that would be top notch. But the Ghoul School was pretty unique because it, like, Shaggy becomes a teacher. I have no idea why Shaggy would want to become a teacher. Well, not a teacher, but he came like a helper. It was more like he was teaching them as well, but he was mostly helping them out. From what I can remember is that they were all ghouls and more monsters, and for Shaggy to apply for that job, and there was ghouls, even freaked him out. But then he gradually grew to love the students and actually think of them as friends rather than monsters, which was a touching moment. And they had the classic villain as well, but I think the best moment from this movie, and I think I told my friends as well, and you guys will agree with me as well, is Evil Shaggy. Yeah, we like to see Evil Shaggy. Like, I think that's the first time we ever see Evil Shaggy. He's never mentioned again. We got Scared Shaggy, we got Brave Shaggy. There's so many other versions of Shaggies out there, but Evil Shaggy, oh my god, he is the creepiest of them all. And Shaggy just looks in this mirror, and for the life of me, he gets put into a reflection world, and the reflection of himself is evil. I think back when I was a kid, I was struggling with like half a dozen and a dozen, and then there was a scene explaining about the dozen flies to the spider, and I think I understood what a dozen was back then. So that movie not just only made me giggle, it educated me. It deserves the number 2 spot. Okay, we're going for the last one, the number 1 spot. What could it be? I probably mentioned my number 1 favourite Scooby Doo movie in some of my Scooby Doo unboxing videos. But how well do you know me? Well, the number 1 spot goes to Scooby Doo Zombie Island. Oh my god. It's one of the most best horror Scooby Doo movies of all time. I'm not even joking. When they aired this, I think they realised Like, it did scare some children, because when I watched it, when I first saw it on TV, because this was a movie that was not released in cinema, it came on TV, and when I watched it, it even scared me. I was like frightened of it, like cat monsters, zombies, and I think why they done it is because zombies were very popular at the time, and they technically are now with The Walking Dead, but there was a massive big hype back in the 80s and the 90s about zombie movies, and when they did Zombies Island, I think they did it at the pinnacle peak of zombie movies. But at the same time, kids were very frightened, and for me, I did have some nightmares, but at the same time, it was a Scooby Doo movie, and I liked how it was the only one that was a horror. Now, people can take Werewolf, the Ghoul School as horrors, but they're not, they're comedies. They're meant to make you laugh. I didn't get scared once watching them. Not one bit. Even when I watched Scooby Doo Meets the Booze Brothers, that made me laugh. That didn't make me afraid of ghosts. But when Zombie Island came out, the title alone is meant to make you jump out of your underpants and run scared. And yes, I'm using a cartoon reference, but that's what it made you feel like. And a lot of people just argue that, oh, it wasn't that scary. Did you watch it as a kid? No, I watched it as an adult. There you go. I watched it again now, and I'm thinking, God, I was scared of this. I can't believe I couldn't make it past this scene. And I just like binged watched it, and I still watch it now and then today. Especially seeing with the voodoo dolls, when like they didn't even bother making any voodoo dolls of Shaggy and Scooby. They just did them off the actual like the brave lot. They left the scaredy pants on their own because they knew they were too scared to do anything. But that's the downfall. When you underestimate the cowardly dogs, that's when you know you're gonna get the pinnacle of screw over. I think after that aired, I think they removed it because it wasn't shown on TV again. I only remember seeing it on TV once. I had to get it on VHS to watch it again, but they quickly removed it off the television network. Like that was never shown again. Understandable, but at the same time, like, god damn, they've really done a Scooby-Doo movie. And then when they brought it back, they came back straight at it, like at the pinnacle of zombies. And that's why it is on my #1 spot, because it was. Did you guys think it was? I thought it was terrific. Had me scared, had me crying. So anyway, that's my number 10 of the my favourite Scooby-Doo movies. If you want to see my top 10 on the What's New Scooby-Doo movies, then let me know in the comment section below, because I have started watching them, and I do have some that are on the list already. I'm still working on it, and it took me a while to do this video because I had to watch so many Scooby-Doo movies. It was unbelievable. And as well, there's like the 50th anniversary coming up in 2 years, so I'll be working on that as well. So I've got a lot of Scooby-Doo research ahead of me. But anyway, thank you for enduring this video. And I left the live actions out of this one because I didn't want to influence it with this one, because I just want to be animated movies only, because we only got 4 live action movies, and I don't think they're going to do any more live action Scooby-Doo ones, which is upsetting. But at the same time, you know, they could do more of animation, but I really didn't want to add them to the list. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time, but remember, take care.